We communicate all day, every single day. But what if I told you that our words, our texts, even our body language are actually the least powerful way we connect? Yeah, really. Today, we're going to dive into a pretty fascinating philosophical idea that suggests our deepest, truest understanding of each other happens on a level that most of us, well, we never even think about.
I mean, think about it. Every single day is just this constant flow of communication, right? You're texting, you're sending emails, you give a nod to someone on the street, you share a meaningful look with a friend. We rely on all these little signals to basically build our entire social world. It feels like that's everything.
But what if that's not the whole story? What if that's just the surface? The source material for this explainer asks a pretty wild question. Is language really the best we can do? Is it the peak of connection, or is it just the very first step on a really, really long ladder? It makes you wonder, have we been spending all our time just hanging out on the bottom rungs, completely unaware of what's way up at the top? And that's where this central idea comes in, a ladder of communication. The source lays out this 8-rung journey, one that starts with things we can touch and see, and climbs all the way up to the metaphysical. So let's take a look at the path ahead, shall we? Okay, so here it is, the whole ladder. You'll see the first 4 rungs are pretty familiar, right? Physical, scent, sound, and language. That's the world we live in every day. But then the climb gets interesting. It takes us into these invisible realms of energy, information, spiritual connection, and finally, inspiration. All right, let's start climbing. So these first 4 rungs, this is basically our home turf. Physical communication, that's as simple as 2 ants touching their antennae. Scent? Well, think of an animal marking its territory. And sound and language? That's every call, every text on your phone. They're absolutely essential, for sure, but according to this framework, they're really just the beginning of what we're capable of. Okay, now we start climbing into the more abstract stuff. The source argues that we're constantly talking to each other through these invisible forces. And you know this feeling, you really do. Have you ever walked into a room right after an argument and just felt the tension in the air? That feeling is a form of communication. It's an exchange of energy that happens completely without a single word being spoken. And this idea isn't just some vague feeling either. The source actually visualizes these emotional energies as real, tangible forces. Just look at this slide. The energy between 2 people in love, it's described as this beautiful, vibrant, colorful dance. But an argument, well, that's more like a volcano erupting, surrounded by dark fog. We are literally broadcasting our inner state, whether we mean to or not. And with that, here we are. We've made it to the very top of the ladder. This is what the source describes as the absolute peak of human connection, the most profound, the most powerful form of communication possible. Now, it's really important to get this straight. This isn't necessarily about religion. It's framed more like a universal language of the heart, a direct connection that just bypasses all the usual barriers. We're talking species, language, distance, and maybe even time itself. Wow, this quote really captures the massive scale of this idea. It suggests that a truly deep, heart-to-heart connection isn't just something that happens between 2 people in a room. It's like a signal that can supposedly echo across the entire cosmos, instantly. Okay, so if this connection really can transcend time and space, what does that actually mean, like in practice? The applications that the source describes are, honestly, pretty extraordinary. They basically expand the very definition of who or even what we can communicate with. So get this. According to the source, this spiritual channel isn't just for talking to other people. Nope, it opens up communication with, well, all of life. We're talking plants, animals, and it even suggests you can have an intuitive connection with historical figures or maybe even with generations that haven't been born yet. It's this vision of a single, unified field of consciousness connecting everything. And just to show you how deep this non-physical connection can go, the source shares what it calls a secret. It says that the highest, most advanced form of intimacy is purely spiritual, a complete merging of energy that happens without any physical touch at all. So, after climbing this entire ladder, from a simple touch all the way up to this cosmic connection, what's the secret? What's the one ingredient that makes this ultimate form of communication even possible? It all comes down to love. The Source presents love as more than just an emotion. It's like the carrier wave for this highest form of communication. It's the force that opens the channel, the thing that allows for that true, barrier-free understanding between any 2 points in the universe.
So, what do we do with all this? It's a fascinating philosophy for sure, but it also leaves us with a really practical question for our own lives. The next time you're in a conversation, or a disagreement, or even just sharing a quiet moment with someone, what would happen if, before you even thought to speak, you tried to just listen with your heart first?